Well, hello there.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to D&D Boyband. What? What have I done?
That's just
Not
Luke.
you.
Funny. Anyway, sorry, hi.
A group of friends that all like to play D&D Pretty Boys because apparently it's not fantasy unless everybody's hot. This is an original D&D campaign set in the critical role world of Exandria, taking place 10 years after the events of CR1. The party have been through the ringer the last couple episodes. Two of people died last session, and they are now regrouping after some emotional damage. Let's put it that way. I'm
One
not
way to
Master
put it.
Jamie, and joining me tonight are the Spice Boys. First of all, let me introduce Clued as Barnes,
Hello there.
Esky as Zug, who is here despite the black square, I think. Esky. Who should be here momentarily. Sai as Aku, Luke as Ascor,
It's mine for me.
Lauren as Lorian,
Buongiorno.
and Erin as Haydn.
Hey guys, what's up?
Before we begin, do we have any announcements, Erin?
We do.
Hey, Nez.
Oh my god, Inez is here. Hi. We have an announcement, and some of you may have figured it out already. We have a new feature on our stream, which is it's an emote wall. Yay! So if you guys post emotes in the chat, they appear on the stream. So that's kind of fun. Some of you have been spamming the boys. Also, side note, which is I can't words. Anyway, the Barnes emote is finally out of jail. So
He is freed. Somebody has paid his bail.
so for the first time since we started streaming, we actually have emotes for all of the Spice Boys available at the same time. So we're very pleased about that. And I have started pestering Jamie about getting his PogChamp emote sorted out.
Certainly.
Yeah, that's that.
Absolutely.
That
Thank
was
you,
the
Erin.
announcements.
Great, and I'm sure the bouncing emojis will not be distracting in the slightest.
At all. Not at
No.
all.
So, to remind everybody, including the group, where you guys were at last session, some of you were having a lovely party, getting to know some of the more important members of Emon society, finding out what had been happening to Ascor's family. The other ones were being murdered, as both Haydn and Aku were killed by the clasp before being dumped in a nearby river. However, with the intervention of your former party member Rasha at Geb's behest, a deal was struck between Haydn and Geb, and then the Fates card was used to bring Aku back. However, there are consequences to both of those decisions, and the party found Haydn attempting to resurrect Aku on the beach. The rest of you obviously have a lot to talk about. You aren't sure exactly how safe you are where you are right now, and I think Lorian has just got back after rolling a natural 1 to lose a 7-foot tall, covered in gold Rasha through the streets of Imon. An impressive feat, but one that was somehow achieved.
I mean, he does have a blindfold on.
Very true. I think Rasha's footsteps clanking might still be there. And his other compatriot. So, Lorian will return. You will all see Aku having been brought back to life. Was never truly, perhaps you never saw him as being. There's a bit of a disconnect where you aren't sure if he ever was dead or if he was kind of always alive, but barely. Minds are playing tricks on you, as obviously the fate card is the center of the fate card rewriting reality around you. However, to kind of get back to that emotional state, maybe somehow, Haydn is slightly disfigured, maimed. The rest of you have arrived on this scene with Aku's wounds barely healing over. D&D Boyband, what are you doing? What are you saying? And where are you going?
Well, I didn't happen to catch where those fellas ran off to. Were they the ones that Cho were in an altercation with?
No. No. We and he kind of glances at Aku and Aku the rest. We had a run-in with the clasp.
You don't say.
Yeah.
What, y'all been in town for like 4 days and you're already getting chased by what, the gang of thieves and drug dealers and who knows what's?
Also the town guard.
Yeah.
On the- Chased by the town guard?
Kind of. Not really. Kind of.
Oh boy.
It's all a big misunderstanding, really.
Is there
Well-
anyone in Amman that we're not being chased by, out of curiosity?
You know, I will say that you're all accomplishing an awful lot in a very short space of time, which is very admirable.
Well, we made friends with that politician lady. That's probably about it, though.
Sort of. But you know, Larian, go big or go home, and I don't think any of us really have homes to go back to, so it's go big.
That's
Absolutely.
quite poignant.
He's got a point.
But it's muddy, it's dark. You two, and he's gonna look at Aku and Haydn, he says this, you two look like there's probably not enough whiskey in the world to sort out what's happened to you, but maybe I can suggest we start with, I don't know, a glass or two, somewhere that's not a riverbank.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to get away.
You know, we really need some sort of a signal or something for when some of us are in trouble.
I would have thought that the mind talking really would have done it, but I guess we need to escalate. Let's talk about that later. Come on, can I help you up? And Bonds will stand and offer hands to Aku and Haydn, since I assume neither of them look particularly strong enough to do it themselves.
Yeah, Haydn will grab Barnes's arm and kind of shakily pull himself up. Kind of staggers a little bit when he gets onto his feet.
Bonds also staggers because with 7 strength, the whole last weight of a human, he's like, oh shit. Look, maybe I'm not the one for this.
I appreciate the effort.
You know, while it is, of course, incredibly healing liquid, whiskey, alcohol, all that, many establishments will have eyes on them by the clasp, and if y'all are being chased by them, you'll need somewhere more discreet to turn to.
Well, we could go to that, what's it called? That church place. No, the inn with the religious person. The barn. No one would expect that we were there.
The one that we were in for less than 5 minutes and they handed us tankards of ale that had a clasp symbol printed on the bottom of one of them.
They did?
Yeah.
Ah.
That
Certainly
was the
did.
reason we left. Very
Ah.
quickly.
Oh, nobody told me that.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should not go there.
There's the Sax house,
Oh.
or there's Larian if you're offering.
Did something happen between you guys at the party?
Sure.
Florian, Barnes?
Yeah, go on then.
Well, we actually discovered something quite concerning about your pal Ascor here. That and he leans into Haydn. Your friend doesn't know what a frog is.
And Ascor goes, what? What did he say? Have the gumption to say it to me.
Sir, I
This is
said
the
it to
time
your
for your
face
jokes.
many times tonight. I was just trying my best not to offend you. But you would
Well, I didn't
all
hear
be
what you just said, so say it again.
Well, we understand that you do not know what a frog is.
This is ridiculous. With everything going on right now, this is what you want to talk about?
Pay
know
me no
what?
mind, gentlemen, and for the time being, y'all are welcome at my shop. The clasp are not customers of mine, although they do stop in every now and then. There is some space in the back for you.
It's very kind of you. Zug, could I get some help with Aku? He's really quite large.
Oh, no problem.
And like this whole time, he's been like really weakly scrabbling and trying to help Aku up, and occasionally just being like, "I'm so sorry. I really want to help, but I'm just physically incompetent."
Okay. So gradually, slowly, with much creaking of muscles and supporting your two very injured comrades, you make your way back to Lorian's shop. You do get some odd looks walking through town. As stealthy as you're trying to be, there aren't many people on the streets at this time. It's pretty much the middle of the night. But for the sake of brevity, unaccosted, you make your way back to Lorian's shop, which smells as it was did when you all left, oddly comforting after the night's events. But there is an unmistakable sense of unease in the air, as probably on the way back, Aku and Haydn, not quite sure how you guys feel about each other, but it's probably a lot unsaid, and I think there's a lot of to be talked about in regarding those. And Haydn, I don't know, you're probably wondering or worrying, or maybe you don't even have capacity to worry about how much Aku heard, or at least what the plan's going to be now. So, returning back to the shop, you kind of get in, and I'll say you all collapse. Yeah, sorry.
Just has Ascor been to the shop before?
Ascor, you never would have been to the shop before. So, Lauren, if you'd like to give a brief description of where you've ended up.
So, I think you said that Ascor wouldn't have really been a frequent visitor of Abdel's Promenade. So it's like there's the normal sort of like shop-lined streets and markets and stuff, and in the space between two established brick buildings, where you would have normally expect to be an alleyway, is a large tree growing just straight out of the cobblestones, and it sort of like entwines onto the building. The tree has like a wooden door inset into it with like a sort of like overgrowth over the top with like flowers and butterflies, and it seems to be in bloom even at night and even out of season. Like it's I guess you would infer that it was magically enchanted to be in bloom all the time. And there's like a little sign on it that just says "not here" spelled wrong in common, just like misspelled. And I guess as we go into it, Lorraine just like takes the sign off it, opens the door, and inside it's just like you would imagine, I guess, kind of like what a little fairy would live in. Like the inside is like the inside of a tree. All of the shelves are like stacked with just like jars and little like trinket boxes, some like artifacts that look kind of like unusual and mysterious, as well as like lots of drying herbs from the ceiling, some like fur stalls, just bric-a-brac kind of cottagecore nonsense. There's also a lot of flowers that have like some little like fey creatures, like little fairies, lots of frogs, and also lots of mushrooms as well that just sort of like gently, like the spores are just kind of like filling the atmosphere. There's like a glow coming from somewhere, but there's no sign of any lanterns or any lights, so it seems to be sort of coming from luminescent like foliage of the flowers and things like that. It's just sort of very natural, imagining something you would find in the Feywild, basically. And it's got like a little wooden counter with a sort of like box that I guess would be some sort of register, but it looks a little disorganized and just sort of like very thrown together.
As Ascor walks in that case, he probably sort of brushes a bit of not gravel, what's it called? Just like dirt, earth from on top of some kind of wardrobe or something, and just says, Is this place safe? Is it? It looks busy.
Busy? Well, I have quite a select clientele. It's not often people come in here just foot traffic, so usually I can expect to know who is coming and when, so shouldn't be too busy.
There's a distinct sense that like there's a small layer of dust around much of the shop, and it's obviously not been that long. Looking around Ascor, a lot of things in here are very smell strange, look odd to you, not entirely sure what their purpose is. You're confused what actually type of shop this is and what in its entirety.
No, you need to tell me that. Oh, that's what I was thinking already.
Yeah, that's fine. So anyway, I'd say there's probably some benches or chairs or desks, just kind of put them over as tables, and you each kind of slump down. And even those of you who weren't under attack, it was a long night of drinking, talking, schmoozing, and then pretty emotional walk back and worry and stress. Finding you're probably all pretty overwrought. and I suppose there's a long silence that hangs in the air as people perhaps think who's gonna start talking
Hans
about what the
immediately
hell
stops
just
because he
happened.
can't deal with silence. He says quite quickly, right, well, my primary criteria was safety, but the second one is drink. And then I think we should talk about how we came to be rewriting history, life, death, on the side of a riverbank, having previously been at a high society party. How did we come to be there, exactly?
In the background of like Bond's talking about this, Lorian's just sort of like shulked off his bag and his cape, just kind of thrown it behind his counter. And you see him go through like, I guess like what is like a curtain of vines at the back, and just hear just like crashing and moving of stuff around. And he sort of comes out with like two like foggy looking old ass bottles that like kind of have moss coming down them. And he says, well, my partner and I were saving these for something of a special occasion, but they've been proofing for quite a while, so I imagine them to be potent enough for your taste right now. And he sort of takes a bunch of like large acorn cups that have like had the caps taken off them, and like starts pouring you guys this like very high proof smelling. I guess I imagine it would be something like Jägermeister almost, sort of like very herbal kind of like stuff.
I've never heard Jägermeister described as herbal.
It literally says herbal on the bottle.
Oh, it's like cough medicine.
Yeah.
Herbal
It's
cough
extremely
medicine.
herbal.
I think
yeah.
I'm stretching the definition of herbal there a little bit.
It's not exactly the Colonel's herbs and spices, but it's close enough. But yeah,
Heavily spiced alcoholic drink.
it definitely looks like it's been festering. Sorry, fermenting for a while.
It certainly is a special occasion.
Here we go, and pours one out for everyone, and then leaves the rest of the bottles on the counter. Drink at your leisure.
Haydn will give it a quick sniff.
Look, just what is it? A shot of each, or is this a 50 ml liqueur, or are we talking a full glass full?
I imagine it's like a short.
Okay, Zug just shots it, puts it back down again.
Ascor does too. You know, right next to Zug, just the same.
I really need to get out of these clothes. I look ridiculous.
I thought this looked quite good on you, Zug.
Well,
I
thank
think so
you,
as well.
but it's not very practical. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't have been much help to anyone. Also, good to see you again, buddy, he says to Ascor, clapping him on the back just a little bit too hard.
Ascor, by this point,
Knocks
his
him forwards.
hair is quite heavy with sweat by this point, just from the stress of the night of the last few days, and probably a bit of water flicks from his hair as he hit him that hard. But he doesn't retort, doesn't recoil or anything like that. He just sits back and on the bench and slumps against the mossy wall. Probably a bit of clump or something comes down, and he just looks at it, not too fussed. He's very consumed in the tension of greater things right now.
Well, I'm glad you're not dead.
Barnes passes his drink to Aku, untouching it. Gives him a little top up, maybe pours it straight into his glass. Yeah, welcome to the recently resurrected club, Aku.
Aku doesn't touch his drink. He's kind of staring at a wall, not really meeting anyone's eyes.
How do we know that Aku came back from the dead?
We saw it happen, right?
Yeah, you all saw Haydn press the card against Aku's chest, and the card like disintegrated around. Pretty similar way.
Just to clarify, so we know everything that happened up to that point. It just seems as though
I thought it was like
it
just like rewrote time.
This is the slightly confusing thing. Aku, you're all a bit at the epicenter of this, so it's difficult like staring at it and having your mind written by the card. Therefore, you've all got thing. I think it's probably simpler if you guys thought Aku was like basically dead. You did medical checks, you tried everything, it didn't work, but this card is what brought him back from the brink, rather than fate has been reality or rewritten.
Yeah,
that's probably
acted
easier.
Like a resurrection spell card.
Yeah. Rather than Haydn. Sorry, Aku was basically dead or was as good as dead, and the card healed him. I think that's the easiest way, or what your minds have chosen to accept as reality rather than what you saw. Probably, if that makes sense.
Haydn kind of places his glass down after the notching it, around the room. Sits back and he says, I suppose I should probably come clean about a couple of things. Explain.
Are you sure? Are you sure? There's a lot of drama. How'd they say it? The Americans? Drama. A lot of.
I don't know.
There's
Actually.
a lot of drama already. If you think it's personal, maybe keep it to yourself.
It kind of involves all you guys.
Even better.
Except you, Lorian. But I guess now through association, you and Barnes are kind of drawn into it.
Well, I
Maybe.
certainly better not be associated with whatever went down with the clasp tonight. That would
hope
not
not.
be good for business.
Well,
Yeah.
Lorian, before we hear any more, could you associate me with another drink?
Of course, sir. And he
Asco holds a glass out.
pulls one out for Asco.
Start.
Want a talking pillow, maybe? Should we institute rules of talking pillows?
No, I've got this. And Haydn kind of like looks down at his wrist where he normally has like a archery arm guard strap there, and he's still wearing it, even though it really didn't go with his fancy formal outfit. And he starts kind of like undoing the little clasp, and he says, "Well, I guess probably." First lie I told you guys was that I'm just a delivery boy and just a mailman.
Yeah, that was bullshit.
You figured that one out?
What postman carries the wand of Orcus?
To be fair, he didn't have the wand of Orcus.
Would
before
Lorian
us.
know what the wand of Orcus is?
Yes.
Huh. He takes a deeper drink.
Bones just looks at Lorian with both eyebrows raised and mouths. I know.
To
Hey,
be
that's in the
fair,
past now.
to be fair, he says to Lorian, I don't have it anymore. We destroyed it.
He got better.
All right. Well, please continue. Don't feel the need to elaborate on my behalf. Maybe the less I know, the better.
Well, and he just takes the arm guard off, and you guys will see that there's like a long tattoo kind of on his forearm that looks like very familiar symbol that you guys have seen before. Is kind of a long line with kind of hooked curves at either end, and it's the symbol of clasp. And kind of what I've been keeping you guys. I'm a member of the clasp, and I don't know. Not meant to talk about it. Any reason. But obviously now I'm at the point where you guys are not just at risk, but are being murdered. Gestures at Aku. So I don't want you guys to get hurt. So fill you in on everything.
Do your
know, Haydn-
parents know that you're a member of the clasp?
Sure hope not.
Well, Haydn, I hear what you say. We hear what you say. But what does that mean?
Honestly, it could be a lot worse. Like, like what happened with Ghost.
Zug, don't sugarcoat it. What does that mean?
You're haunted by a ghost as well?
Kind of.
That's another story we gotta update you on.
So, could you make a wisdom saving throw for me?
Eh.
What?
Eh.
Oh my god,
I mean, yeah.
is Ghost sending you a little message?
This
His
is what
yeah.
happens.
strongest
Speak of the
save.
devil.
Wait,
and he'll
hold on.
fall here.
I rolled the wrong dice. I rolled the wrong. Oh, it does make a difference.
You're
That's
near
5.
Aku. You're near Aku. Okay.
Oh, I'm near Aku, so yeah, 5.
Whatever it
plus
is, you
whatever.
fail.
Wait, do I have any indomitables? Go on. hold on. I do. Yes. Okay. Cool. Well, we're gonna go again. I mean, it's only a 7 plus whatever Aku is.
Whatever it is, you
5, is it?
fail. Plus
Bruh.
4 from Aku.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Whatever
on.
it is.
Please go on.
Continue.
Does Haydn get the sense from Barnes's expression that he's very, very lost and has got no idea what's going on?
He certainly spent a long time staring at the tattoo, and when you finally said, "I'm a member of the clasp," he went, "Oh, that's what that is, okay."
Right. Barnes, for your benefit, didn't exist 1,000 years ago. I don't think, at least. The clasp is a guild, kind of.
This is the mafia, right? That we were hiding from at the start of this little incursion here.
Yeah.
You're in the mafia.
I mean,
That's cool.
no, it's not.
Oh.
I mean, some people would think it's cool. I mean, I used to think it was cool. Until, you know, they fucking killed me and dumped my body in a river, but, you know, yeah, it's like
I'm
the mafia.
sorry.
It's
Did
thieves and...
you say they killed you? And actually, on to my next point. We only met a couple of times, but you definitely had 2 eyes before. Am I correct in thinking? Now, my eyesight ain't what it used to be, but, you know.
Yeah. Where do I start?
You've
Yeah.
got an Illuminati symbol on your hand as well.
Oh, and he kind of like looks at the back of his hand and it's got this kind of burned in symbol. Oh, this it's actually the symbol of Geb. Not Illuminati. It's a bit different. I'll explain that one in a little bit too. There's a lot to explain.
Hold on, you're
no.
missing an eye?
Yes. And he like gestures at his left eye, which is wait, it's his right eye. Gestures at his right eye, which is like not there.
Well, just open it. Surely it's just bruised.
You'd think he was winking at you for the last 2 hours, Ascor.
Well, he's been in combat. I assumed he'd taken a knock to the face and it was just swollen shut.
No.
Don't you think we would talk about the fact somebody's lost an eye?
Sort of a lost life. There's a lot that's happened in the last
Well-
few hours. Maybe we should stop asking questions. I think
Well,
maybe you should just
I-
explain it.
I would agree with you, Ascor. I was thinking the same thing.
Start. I guess the easiest place to start is at the beginning. A bit of a long story, but I guess you guys probably need all the context for it to make sense. Several years ago, I left home, various reasons, and ended up in the big city, which very quickly realized you needed a lot more money to get by than I had in my pockets. I tried to get a job. With the refugee crisis, there's more people looking for jobs than there are jobs available, and I couldn't get work. I slept rough. Eventually, my hands ended up in the wrong pockets to try to, you know, eat. The person I stole from ended up being a member of the clasp. They at first were kind of amused, I guess. I was trying to steal from another thief. But then I guess they realized that maybe I could, you know, repay the debt instead of just, you know, being stabbed on the spot or something. Situations like that. But anyway, I got recruited and it was good. You know, they gave me somewhere to sleep. food to eat. I had people around me that care about me. Where I met Kari for the first time. Shen wasn't so bad at first, actually. I started off just doing odd jobs for them, but I fucked up a lot, and I got in a lot of debt with them. They dock your pay, but you know, if they dock enough of it, you just keep going in a negative. So,
As Ascor realizes this is a longer story than he thought, he's sort of got up at this point and sort of walked over to the wall, just sort of put one hand against it, still hear the, I assume, ice maybe clinking away in the glass, and he's just sort of leaned against the wall, just sort of listening. So.
Eventually, I got put on a job over at the Silvercut Crossroads. Then it got moved to the Underdark, and that was kind of where I met you guys. Actually how I knew Nadan. He was a colleague. I was sent on a job to go track down some wanted people. A guard that had absconded from his post and very large bounty on head, dead or alive. As he glances at Zug. A aristocrat had appeared from his home and was wanted returned by his parents. Very high sum of money.
Probably takes a little. Ascor takes a little sip and, you know, still leans against the room, turns around to look at you, his hair sort of flopped down with sweat, and just goes, "Oh yeah, who? I probably know him."
You know him intimately, Ascor. And a drug dealer had reneged on his latest shipment. His stash. Aku. I tracked you guys down. And reason you were willing to let me tag along. And so I did. And got back to the Silvercut Crossroads, checked in with Kari, and tried to hand in my first target, which was Ascor.
Ascor splutters a little bit on his drink, and he goes, it looks at you, just expecting more.
Well, you remember getting sack thrown over your head and brought up to the top of that inn that we stopped in that one time. You got free, obviously, but yeah, that was my first job, was to hand you over, and I almost did it, but obviously you guys know how that went. Get him free. Then we went to Persona. And we did so much together and traveled to so many places and met so many people and fought.
DM insight check.
Yeah, go for it.
A check on what?
Just the general thing. Must come out as a may not have connected. 24.
24.
What are you trying to find out?
Charisma?
My charisma? 12? Plus
Mine
one
says
modifier?
bearing his soul.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think you believe Haydn.
Sitting here on 1 HP, fucking telling his life story. Anyway.
Oh yeah, are you guys on super low health, by the way?
Yeah.
Okay, like picking up on this in that case, in the background, Lorian is going to summon some healing spirits. He'll summon one each, and I'll do some rolls to see what hit points you guys take. It's just the same situation where a nice big sunflower grows out the ground, and there's like a little fairy just like throwing like little like petals at you, and every time it hits you, you feel like a little bit like healthier and a little bit warmer and a little bit more put together.
Fairy
This
sounds so
conversation
annoying.
getting pelted by confetti.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
and
like-
occasionally it'll just spit on the floor.
I love this. Anyway, so basically, eventually we, spent a lot of time together, and I wasn't returning to Tal'dorei, where that office was, and where I was expected to hand things in, and then those assassins got sent after us.
Which ones?
The ones that, like, shot me once, and I was, like, passed out on the ground, and we're coming for you. That time, it happened in the middle of the night, and
Where were we?
in the middle of the barbed field somewhere. That whole stretch of time
Yes,
is
I
literally
know.
just a
I
blur.
remember them.
Yeah.
Are we talking about Cranston A here? The husbands?
Yeah.
Oh, I liked them.
Yeah,
What
they're,
about them?
they're actually pretty nice guys. I mean, a job's a job, but that's not too personal. But yeah, I guess eventually I realized that, I'd taken so long to hand my jobs in that, I'd kind of run my thread of trust with them short. And the reason I'd been taking so long with completing my jobs is because I didn't want to complete. I mean, I obviously tried handing you over Ascor, and I'm glad, that fell through, because, I hate to admit it, I kind of enjoy having you around. Zug, I very truthfully said, there is no orc here. There's a guy with dragon wings, but certainly not a guy that fits Zug's description. And
Well, I thank you for that one.
he
For
looks
sure.
at Aku and he said, I never told them anything about you. But anyway, not handing in any of my missions eventually caught up with me. I had a feeling that coming back to Iman was going to be dangerous for me. I probably should have figured that would be dangerous for you as well, but I was hoping maybe I could round it somehow, or find a loophole, or keep you guys hidden enough that we could get what we need to get done, and then we could get out of here, which is kind of why I was so sketchy with about, hey guys, let's disguise ourselves, let's stay in a part of town where we won't be seen by people, let's keep a low profile, and obviously that didn't work out.
Haydn, did you not tell the truth at that point because you were afraid to tell them? Or because part of you was thinking you still might be able to get out of it and tick both boxes in both directions?
No, I didn't want to complete my jobs, but I also knew that you can't just leave LASP. You don't just leave Mafia. Leave is often.
This is a group of people who destroyed the Wand of Orcus for you, who put themselves in life-threatening situations for you, who did something astronomically incredible because they could, because they were strong enough, and because they didn't want their friend to be hurt. Do you think that these people, these fantastic and powerful people, couldn't handle the Mafia if they really put their minds to it in full knowledge of what was happening? Do you not trust them?
The class were a massive network, like hundreds, maybe thousands of people. Like, it's not just a case of go to, a cursed temple and get through the maze and beat the bad guy at the end. It's so, there's so many people everywhere, and you don't know who they are. it's trying to chase ghosts. Like, it's not.
Would you have
Hayden,
told them?
Hayden, could you make a wisdom saving throw for me?
Oh, fuck's sake. I was desperately trying to think of any word that meant ghost that wasn't the name ghost. That's a stupid character name, Lauren.
Wait, are
wisdom
we
saving
banned from saying the word?
Apparently.
You must not be named.
Do I get a bonus from Aku?
You get Aku's bonus, yeah?
But do I though? Because
Or
this
does
is
Aku
only...
consider you friendly?
Aku consider me friendly.
You get the bonus.
Oh, nice.
That doesn't mean anything though.
Yo. Anyway, it's all meta knowledge. It's a 16 I rolled.
Okay. Please continue with your roleplay.
Right. When would you have told them then? Because ultimately you've come clean, but it's at the cost of... I don't want to talk for Aku, but... Were you hoping it would go away? What was the resolution here?
Well, the first night I got here, I, left the brothel and caught up with some of networks and tried to get the lay of the land. And as far as I found out, Zug's bounty was gone. So that one had kind of solved itself. I'd kept him way long enough that he no longer had a price on his head. Got you covered, buddy. I gives a thumbs up to Zug.
Appreciate that a lot.
And, well, Ascor's... I had to keep him away from Amon, and we were kind of in Amon, and then he kind of disappeared. So that was kind of out of my hands. And I was planning on paying off Aku's debt. That one cleared up. Thought maybe fix it on my own and tell you guys.
Didn't Roman give the party a vast sum of money such that Aku could pay his own debt? Why are you taking that one on yourself?
It's my job to close.
Haydn, I understand the need to take things upon yourself and to try and fix other people's problems, but I'm going to be real with you as a friend. You're not very good at it.
Yeah.
And really, these shoulders here in this room, pretty sturdy, pretty good at handling things, bearing weight. Rely on them. Choose to trust them. Because there are consequences for not, right?
Hold on. Ascor straightens up. He's still not turned around to face any of you. He just says to Haydn, well, do you think what you've done is wrong?
Erin, could you make a wisdom saving throw at disadvantage?
Me?
Yeah.
Can you tell Ghost to fuck off? And is that with Aku's bonus again?
Yes.
That's 20.
20. You succeed.
Don't know what that was all about, but tell Ghost I gave him the middle finger.
Assuming it's Coast.
Sorry. Ascor, what did you say?
Or do you feel what you've done is wrong?
Like, job? Or, I mean...
No, us. Do you feel you've wronged us?
I obviously, like, I told you guys sooner, maybe you guys wouldn't have come to Amon and wouldn't have been caught up on all this. I didn't know how to tell you guys. Because
Well, what I mean
scared.
to say is, if you surely, if you think what you've done is wrong, you should turn yourself into the authorities.
Could you make your roll again, please, Haydn, at disadvantage?
What? Oh my god. Wisdom saving throw?
Yeah.
That is a 21. Wait, is that right? Hold on, did these roll? Oh wait, no, the second one has. Oh no! That's a 9.
Or better still, have you considered just, punishing yourself so you learn from your mistakes?
So, remind me, Ascor, the way you're doing this, you don't have components, right?
Not damn fine.
So, okay.
So
if Haydn would
someone to
consider
take a reasonable course of action.
Yeah, if
it's
Haydn
worded.
would consider either of those reasonable courses of action, you are compelled by the suggestion spell.
Hand myself over to the authorities.
Or punish
The
yourself.
latter one, the punish oneself.
So someone who firmly believes that all cops are bastards, would Haydn think that it's reasonable to hand himself over to the authorities?
Possibly not,
It was
but
the
but in
last
some way
comment, not the
punishing
authorities,
yourself.
the other one.
To punish
Yeah, that
myself?
one. Yeah,
How the fuck do I play this?
The problem is that anything like asking it to stab itself or something like that obviously is a no.
Wow. I feel like he's going to be beating himself up on the inside anyway, right?
Ascor's like, I twist the knife.
Ascor, what do you envision from that?
Yeah.
someone giving themselves a hard time.
Hayden's kind of slumps and he kind of like puts his head like kind of in his hands, and you can kind of see he's like kind of like gripping the hair at the back of his head quite tightly. He kind of mutters out the rest of what he's saying. Look,
Exactly what is
okay.
it you're asking him to do, Ascor? What, like cut off his fingers or something?
Look, it's just-
Like, what would you like him to do?
Well, I'm just saying he should take responsibility for his actions. He's greatly convenienced all of us here. All of us.
True,
Endanger our lives.
but it
risk our
also
futures.
seems to me, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like he's paid his dues. He just sort of like gestures to the broken little half elf who's probably like slumped over, just like on the verge of tears, just like, what more could you ask for from him?
Whether or
I
not you
suppose just, like-
accept him is your personal decision.
This
Ascor, of course it is, but
this is the exact reason why I didn't tell you. And like looks up and looks at Ascor. I knew that you guys wouldn't want to see me ever again. Truth.
nobody
The
said
truth
that. Don't be
what? And
dramatic.
Haskell by this point is chewing a piece of ice from his glass. He goes, "You what? That you're a rat?"
I mean,
That you're untrustworthy? That you're the bane of all of our problems?
I don't think that's strictly true.
he's right.
Look, there is a time to blame Haydn and decide how you want to process what he's told you. But I also think that we have a bit of a duty to ask Haydn, why is your eye missing? What happened to the two of you, Aku? How did you come by? Well,
Yeah,
that?
okay, so basically, I didn't tell you guys because I was scared. that
You'd be good at
you
that.
guys would, cast me
I'm
out.
joking.
What did you say?
I said you seem to be good at that.
And anyway, we got to the party last night, and obviously we found out that the class were backing Ascor's father's campaign, and I was a little bit nervous that they might be there, especially since Zug couldn't wear his disguise anymore, and Aku certainly wasn't in disguise either, so couldn't really keep you guys very hidden. And when I got told that someone wanted to speak to me, I kind of figured that it was gonna be a conversation about you guys, and I thought, maybe if I go, I can diffuse the situation and, hand over the money I've been collecting and, explain that Zug's bounty's gone and Ascor's nowhere to be found, or, something. Anyway, I didn't think it through very well. It all happened really quick, and
Why not earlier? This conversation. Why now?
lose you guys.
Do you think you still have us?
Obviously
After
not.
all of this?
Obviously not. I'm just leaning the plate before I get out of your guys. Look, what happened? I got drugged. I woke up. I was in a room with Kari and Shen and a couple of other recruits, kind of new, and they started interrogating me about you guys, and I tried to talk my way out of it, but everything was really foggy, and she asked me where my loyalties lie, and I said, hand you guys over to them. That my loyalties lie with you guys. And the last thing I remembered was she took a knife out and gestures at his throat where there's like a scar that clearly is quite deep, nearly across his whole throat. I passed out, I guess. I woke up a little bit later and Aku was there, and glances at Aku, and there was... never mind. Aku was there, and I managed to cut myself free, but Aku took a lot of hits, and he lost a lot of blood. Once they were done with him, they turned back on me, and the next thing I knew, I was waking up in a river. But this, and he gestures at his eye, like, this happened just before I passed out. Kari likes to keep trophies. It's one of her things she does. I didn't think it would happen to me, but here we are. I think I died. There's no way that someone could survive this, and he kind of unbuttons like his shirt, 2 buttons, kind of pulls it aside, and you can see that there's like a stab wound over, like, just like very like surgically, kind of with surgical precision, like right in between where the like intercostal muscles would be on his ribs to go straight for like where the heart would be. There's no way I could have survived these. and I had this weird experience where I think he looks to Zug. I think I met Gab. I think.
What do you look like?
Kind of cool actually.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think he sent Rasha to come like kill me, I guess. Resurrect me? I don't know. And I think that's what those footsteps were when you guys saw them on the beach. I don't know.
Did any of us here witness that by out of curiosity?
Lorian is the only one who we didn't see, but tracked someone walking from the beach and then lost them in the crowd. 2 people.
Well, how do we know that's true?
I don't know what's true.
Because there's one thing I know about the Gab. Rasha, the most honest person I ever knew. Wherever he is now. Zug doesn't lie. He doesn't try to. He doesn't try to lie. But you, so you're a man of God now. But you don't really exist. Everything you say is completely false. How do we know it wasn't some kind of ruse? Did you die? Did they found out you were lying to them and they took an eye from you in revenge? Why shouldn't we take an eye right now?
Well, then I wouldn't have any left, which...
Please know.
Yeah, I think that's a bit over the top, guys.
Please know eye removals in my store, if you don't mind.
You know, as somebody who has died and recently come back, these wounds that Haydn is sporting, they are certainly consistent with certain death. And as we've established earlier in this conversation, Haydn is completely incompetent. There is no way he could have fooled us or devised such a plan if he couldn't even think to tell us that the class would be at a party that he knew he would encounter them at. There is no way he could have pulled that one over us.
It's too late for that. He's tried already. He's been involved. He must have passed information along. That's why they came for us multiple times. Because of him. He's tried and failed. You're right, he's incompetent. Doesn't mean he's not tried to take my life. You weren't there.
No, I wasn't.
How can you tell me how to feel?
I'm not at
can't.
all.
You shouldn't.
Your feeling's totally valid. If I were you, I'd be incensed. I'd probably slap him or have slapped him by now.
You think I won't?
Go for it. I won't stop you.
Aiden kind of sits
Don't
back in his
mess
chair and
with
just
me.
looks at Ascor. I deserve it.
You deserve what?
Whatever you think. You're right. I tried to hand you over to your
If I count
parents.
the attempts on my life, I count at least 2. How many shots do I get to take yours? Does that seem fair? Is that Geb's way?
I'm not an expert, but that's not really Kep's way.
So it's all agreed then. An eye for an eye.
I don't think anyone agreed that. I think you might have agreed that with yourself and yourself alone, to be honest. Personally, having had both eyes removed and replaced with seemingly other ones, I'm not really keen to repeat the experience for a friend of mine. And like you said, I wasn't there. I'm not really involved
Friend
in
of
this.
yours? Excuse me? Are you in on this too? A friend of yours? You've just found out who this person is. And I don't mean the other day. I mean in the last 3 minutes.
No, you're right.
180 seconds? That's how long you've known this guy. And you found out he's tried to kill some of us.
I never
Like
tried
you
to
said,
kill
my
any of
feelings
you.
are valid.
I never tried to kill any of
Yeah, he didn't technically try and kill any of us. He just tried to give us to people who would.
No.
I just tried to
No.
sell
I
you
come from a
out.
very wealthy
No.
family. If I paid a lot of money
Listen.
to have somebody killed,
Listen,
is that on me
Ascor,
or is it on them?
when
It's on
I
both of
handed you
us.
over to the clasp, They just wanted to return you unharmed to your parents. The only reason I went along with it.
How do you know that's true? How did you know at the time?
Jobs are a lot more difficult to complete when they want them alive. It's gonna be killed anyway. A bit cheaper.
And the
You know,
assassins
how
that
can we
Siegfried
believe
sent.
anything that comes out of your mouth?
We
Well,
have magic for it, don't we?
suggest a zone of truth spell, but Rasha's not here. Hayden glances
No,
at
Rash is
Aku.
not here.
Suddenly remembering that Aku's got that spell. Oh no.
There's no shortage of holy men here. Gonna turn to Aku, if you think it's appropriate.
I don't need their virtue.
I mean, as an outside witness of all this, why on earth would Haydn tell you all this if it wasn't true? It certainly don't seem in his best interest to divulge this information to y'all. And of course, if he had not done that, you never would have found any of this out.
Oh no, I believe this is true. I believe this is true. It explains how they found us so many times. So easily, like it was nothing. Like we weren't trying to stay alive. To stay free. Of course I believe him. If I didn't believe him, would I not... Would I be incensed? We're here for a reason. To end this. And I didn't almost make it here. Some of us didn't almost make it here. Because of him. I want my eye.
The first time Aku has said pretty much a single thing since pretty much waking up on the riverbank. You all suddenly hear, Ascor, why don't you just shut the fuck up and sit down?
Oh no.
For starters, where the hell have you even been? You have no right to talk when you have been God knows fucking where. Did not tell us about the doppelganger, did not even think to tell us or inform us where you were. You talk about putting people's lives in danger. I mean, your father is one of the wealthiest men in Amon, if not the wealthiest man in Amon, and he's been searching for you. You talk about wanting an eye. You have no idea what the clasp is like. Your life was never in danger here. And he is gonna like take a deep breath and say, so I really think that you should sit down because there are a lot of fucking problems here. The first one being, where the hell have you been? Secondly, I went off to find Haydn and I told you, Barnes, I told you I was going to find him. And he takes a breath and looks over to Zug. And Lorien, you saw Haydn leave. You saw him leave the party, and you didn't think to say to anyone else that he had disappeared without letting anyone know. I mean, you're mentioning how we're not talking. I followed Haydn, and for the first time, he kind of, very first time after, you know, getting up from that bank, he looks at Haydn and says, I came after you because I didn't know what was going on. You know that I worked for the clasp. At any point you could have said anything. And when I went there, I had no idea that you were working, and he sort of lifts up his his fist to sort of slam the small table right next to him. And his hand just stops. And I really think that we would describe it as quite a, well, betrayal, really, Haydn. I mean, I don't think that it was the best idea for you to have kept this fucking clasp. And he slams his hand on the table.
Those of you during that period where he was speaking slightly differently, Aku's eyes were ever so slightly amber.
God, he's so hot when he's angry.
When the slightly calmer Aku was coming through.
He, as his fist like sort of meets that table and slams down, and he kind of blinks. His chest and his shoulders are heaving from probably showing the most emotion that you have ever seen him show. What I meant to say was, and he looks lost for words. Like I don't think, Ascor, that you're in any position to ask for anything, given what we've done for you. And he looks away from Haydn and sort of sits back down.
What vibe is Bond's getting from Aku at this moment? What's that like second half where he's trailing off?
He looks almost as shocked as everyone else that he's had this sudden outburst of anger. He doesn't necessarily think that there's something wrong, but he is just aware that he just yelled and didn't really know where that came from. He's looking pretty conflicted.
You projecting there, sir?
He just died, Lorian. I can tell you it's not nice. It leaves you
Sorry,
some kind
is
of
that-
way.
Is that too soon?
A little bit, maybe. Do you still want your eye, Ascor?
Ascor is sort of hand in his face at the moment. He's just sort of. And you hear him just start laughing. Oh boy. Firstly, Barnes, you talk too much. Aku. Or should I call you Heinrich? Where was I? Are you my father? Where were you, Ascor? He does an imitation of both Aku's voice and his father's voice. Where were you, Ascor? Where were you, Ascor? Where were you? I can't tell the difference. Are you my father too? Because God knows what's gotten into his head. You know, he knows. He knows that's not the real me. Don't you dare talk to me like that. You disgust me. How dare you come into my space with that kind of conversation? Where was I? We're here for a reason. And we like to sit around and talk. Talk, Barnes. Talk, talk, talk. And I'm done with talking. We're here. I'm here to end it. So I went out there to do exactly that. And why should I explain myself to you? Where were you? Are you my father? Are you really? Daddy? Cut the
Ascor
shit,
confirms to
Aku.
call the first.
Cut the shit, Aku. I said I want my fucking eye. I've lost too much life. too much of who I am, who I was along the way to not get what I set out for. And the reason why we're here is blood. And no little fucking apology. And he smashes his glass on the floor. And glass skitters across the dirt. I skitters across the dirt as well. And what left of, you can tell by this point he's drunk. And Ascor's going to go ahead and cast telekinesis on Haydn.
Okay, so what does that do?
So Haydn's required to make a strength ability check. So not a saving throw, but just an ability check.
Okay, so I just roll a d20 and then add my strength modifier, is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Ascor rolls a spellcasting abilities contested. Yeah, so it's your charisma 5.
Yeah.
I rolled a 16. I only have a plus one.
Cool. So I just roll a straight charisma check, don't
Yeah, no saving throw. This is all of you see this happening, obviously.
which is a 12. However, I will drop one
Sorcery point.
one sorcery point.
Let's
Can you
go!
can you reroll a check, or is it just a saving throw?
No, it's only checks I can reroll, so it's not
Okay.
saving throws, but just checks, so I can reroll that. Come on, for fuck's sake, man. We fucking work. It's a 22, baby.
Oh, let's go.
Okay.
So what happens?
Yeah. So I can move you 30 feet.
Barnes, are you gonna do anything?
Well, this would happen afterwards because I don't. It's not a
Okay.
reaction, right? So
Yeah, it depends whatever you're doing, I suppose.
it'll be a spell. So after.
Okay, cool.
So what is it that
And,
Ascor does?
Yeah, Ascor grabs Haydn by the fucking throat, like Force style, and pushes him against the wall, raised off the ground.
Yeah, Haydn, you feel yourself being lifted up, unable to move, fighting back, pushed up against the wall or the ceiling?
Kind of high wall, maybe towards the ceiling.
Okay, yeah.
He like grabs at like the invisible hand that is like around his throat, and he's like trying to like pull it off, and he's like choking.
Yeah, what's everyone else doing?
Aku is gonna launch himself at Ascor, seeing Ascor casting the spell and make an unarmed strike.
Okay.
I'd also like a wisdom save. I'd like a wisdom save from Ascor as well.
Ascor wisdom saving throw. We'll do that in the Zug and Lorian, are you doing anything?
Zug's just kind of astounded. He's actually slowly lifting a piece of jerky into his mouth.
Lauren's like probably stood next to Zug and is just like.
Alright, so could I have an unarmed strike from Aku and a wisdom saving throw from Ascor?
Let's let the strike go down first.
14 and 20.
Both of them.
Those attacks, are they attack rolls?
Yep.
2 attack rolls, yeah.
First one misses, second one hits.
Okay, a d4 and plus your strength modifier.
Strength modifier there, Letty? What's your strength modifier?
4.
And you need to roll a 1d4 as well for the alarm strike.
Yep, I'm doing it now.
Cool.
6 points of damage.
6 points of damage, and Ascor, could you make a concentration check for me?
He smashes his fist into Ascor's nose.
Yeah, as the first one kind of Ascor, the unexpected movement of him standing up, you miss your strike and it kind of glances against it, but your second one just right across the chin, kind of catching Ascor across the face. Ascor, you kind of like spit has gone one way and you struggle to maintain control of the telekinesis spell.
So cool. We had temporary hit points. I've not got rid of them. I don't know how long it's been since we had them.
You probably would have got rid of them, yeah.
Gone by now.
Did I take any
Okay,
damage
cool.
from the
So let me
telekinesis
reverse.
spell?
No. Yeah, Ascor, you need 10. It's a Constitution saving throw, DC 10. To maintain.
DC 10. Cool Constitution. So I have pretty good save on that. An advantage, got Warcaster, so let's drop that. So that's 15 on the first one, and then
That succeeds.
20 on the second.
Cool, that succeeds. A wisdom saving throw against Barnes, whatever Barnes is doing.
Please, please.
Oh, cool. Wisdom. 17.
Fail.
Damn.
Fine.
Damn. I
Is
failed by
the-
1, didn't I?
2. It's the dominate person spell. And Barnes will kind of say to the room, I generally consider it unethical to use magic in the cases such as these, but if it's come to physical altercation, I am actually obliged to do this. It's within my code of conduct. I can. Ascor, sit down, please.
Well, sits down. What do you command about
Oh,
this?
is it a charm spell by any chance?
Oh,
It says
actually,
it, yeah.
So, would you consider Bonds as fighting you at the moment? 'Cause it's Haydn and Aku you are. I don't know if you'd consider.
If
No,
creature that
DM.
you or a creature that are friendly to you are fighting it has advantage on the saving. Well, you or creatures that you are friendly to. So
Everyone's friends here. So I guess I have advantage on it then?
yeah,
I have actually advantage on the saving throw. Psychic
it
defense.
is. Yeah, it is charm
spell.
anyway.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me another roll of that. Come on, little baby. Ah, too low as a 15.
Yeah. So you're charmed by Barnes.
It's only a minute.
Charmed.
So I'll quickly say to Zug, I think for the sake of everyone, could we restrain him, please?
Ah.
Hayden, you
Okay.
drop to the ground as telekinesis fades.
Okay.
As yeah, I presume are you guys tying Ascor up? What's happening?
Mm,
Yeah, be assisting them.
Before anyone is able to even to get close to Ascor, Aku would like to keep punching Ascor.
Nice.
Okay.
No.
Go for, is that 2 strikes?
Yep.
Cool. Ascor, could you make 2 more saving throws at advantage each time you take damage to break the spell?
While still sipping from his drink, Lorraine just says, "Oh no, y'all should stop fighting. This is just not gonna resolve things for you."
16.
So I'm taking 2 hits, is it, or 2 saving throws? Did you say, DM?
Well, you're being hit twice, so does 16 hit you on the first one?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, which I'll
Okay.
probably throw down a little shield on that though. So that misses.
Clued, would you command him to do that?
That's a good question.
Dominate person?
Yeah, until the end of your turn, the creature takes only the actions you choose and doesn't do anything you won't allow it. During this time, you can also cause the creature to use a reaction, but this requires you to use your own reaction.
Yeah, I'd probably be like, oh, alright, dodge it, fuck.
Okay, cool. Shield comes up, so you dodged. Doesn't hit that one. Does the second one hit, Aku?
What's
No,
the
it's
second?
12.
Okay, so each time,
Actually, yeah, it's a 12. It doesn't
yeah,
hit.
you see Ascor kind of throw off a magical barrier, and each of your hits kind of you can't quite get through this, and as you go back to do it again, and wham! And this time the barrier is fully crystallized in front of him, and your hand just kind of you feel it like what's that bend slightly. It just misses.
I can
What's-
brew up some chamomile tea to calm everyone's nerves if you prefer that.
Zug is probably over with rope. Begins tying Ascor
just
up.
helping out.
Hayden, what are you doing?
I'm trying to catch my breath again after being strangled.
Oh, Lorian is making tea.
Yeah, Lorraine just looks at Hayden. I'll get you something, and you just go
Ugh.
out the back and clink around.
Thanks.
Aku.
Make tea.
Aku.
Luke, you have some hoovering or something going on.
Oh yeah, we're getting some background noise from
Me?
someone.
That's the static
Yeah.
in his brain. It's
I think even work. Wait. One second.
tinnitus from getting decked by Aku.
Yeah, you're just hearing the stars going around my head. It is just the fan from my computer because it's so warm because of all the drama. The drama. Let me mute and find a little prop for it.
I guess if Ascor has a shield up, Aku's just gonna take a step back, let Zug tie up Ascor, and He's gonna look over to Haydn, but not make any move towards him.
With a lot to work out, emotions flared. Ascor dominated for probably another 40-50 seconds. So everyone takes a breather, staring at each other. And we'll be back after a short break.
Okay. Do you
People to
guys
resolve their internal issues. See you in a bit. Hello, hello. What is Ask? So, the boy band are in danger of splitting up a little bit. You guys, there's a lot to talk about. A lot has happened. A lot has been revealed over the past couple of conversations. And it's a pretty tense time. Ascor is currently dominated and tied up. Haydn is recovering from being held up by the telekinesis spell. Aku has slapped and punched Ascor a few times. Lorien is enjoying watching all of this, and Barnes has some problems to solve. Zug is unsure what kind of just wants to eat the food, but also how is Zug feeling about all of this?
Very confused. A lot happened all at once. There's a lot to take in.
Well, you're all standing around. Ascor's just been tied up. Probably got 30 seconds before Ascor returns to himself. What are you guys up to?
Gentlemen, I think that Ascor might be projecting a little bit. He's been rejected by his family, the fall of his place in society, and he's moved straight on to another betrayal. I don't think he will be reasonable or calm for the majority of this evening. Do you want to give him space, or do you just want to keep beating the shit out of him? Because I'm here to enable either scenario, really, but that's what I think's happening.
At this point, Lorien comes back through with a tea tray, with like a little, I guess like a little ceramic pot that's like steaming and loads of little cups, and he puts them down sort of like very in front of each other. And if Hayden's on the floor, he'll like have the tray in one hand, and he'll help him up with the seat, pat him on the shoulder, and pour him a cup of tea. Turn to Bonds and say, "Well, I would kindly like to ask if y'all are considering fighting, that we start to, you know, put some money on this, so at least some of us are gonna come out of it looking a little better." He winks at Haydn.
Haydn kind of glances at Lorien and looks down at his tea and just takes a step. Bonding.
Constitution saving throw. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. It's just tea.
I'm doing it anyway.
Very good tea.
Best tea.
Aku, oh, what's happened to you? It's a lot. There's a lot going on. I'm here for you. Whatever you want to do with Ascor, that's up to you. But I think this ball is in your court, so... Either way, we got you, buddy. Just don't kill him, because I can't bring people back, and your cleric friend might be a bit tired for the day, so...
Also, he's one of my top clients' immediate family members, so if you could just avoid killing him, that would do me well. Thank you, thank you. Sinks back into the background.
He's needed sense beaten into him for a long time. I mean, he's asked me who I am to ask him where he is. How long have we been... And he's like, he's struggling a little bit. He's exhausted. He's clearly not processed what had happened earlier. He's angry at Ascor, but I mean, we've been together for, I can't even think how many months now. And he doesn't even think that maybe we would have some say after saving his life, after backing him up, after everything we've done for him. He called me disgusting.
Right. To be honest, I don't think he's capable of thinking at the moment. If you need a break, this might be the time for it. Else we can keep going, but well, Ascor will be back in 5, 4, and he kind of looks down. So think about what you want to get out of this, but we'll support you either way. And I guess the dominate person fades.
Yep. So, are you guys taking a break? Are you continuing to talk? What is the plan?
Well, Ascor.
Yeah.
How's Ascor
Ascor.
feeling after
Dominate person.
being, mind controlled for a little while?
He probably comes back where he last set off. He's just going, no, and then sort of comes to his surroundings, but just like completely in a daze. Obviously drunk. He's not been in control of his faculties for the last. Was it like a minute? Was it 10 minutes? Dominate.
Only a minute.
60 seconds. He's probably struggling to focus a bit. Not much of anything at the moment.
Chance, is there immediate threat that'll be coming after you? Haydn, your clasp friends, do they think you're both dead, I assume?
Yeah. I guess they probably do. How long stays that way, but generally I don't think they'd expect many people to come back from us. We're as good as ghosts right now.
Okay, you already failed.
I don't know how to help you guys. That's the reason why I've not said anything is because I can't stop them. All I could do is try to steer you away, and I realized we were close to their class members or their bases of operation. Just be like, oh, hey guys, maybe we should leave, you know? Like, when we were in the, the religious district and we were trying to stay at that little inn. It wasn't,
Ascot, there's a lot of background from yours.
I'm sorry. Not much I can do. Let me just mute out.
Right. Honestly, the best thing would be for probably Aku, you to just keep a low profile and change your identity. They're hit on you.
I think.
Places where they don't have a reach and barely got a foothold in Wildmount as well.
I'm astonished by your lack of ambition. I just think we should beat the shit out of the clasp. But let's talk about solutions maybe, when everyone's had a rest. Decided who they want to solutionize with. And maybe we can go from there.
Just to let everyone know, I am single, so I am available to solutionize with at your discretion.
Have you got back rooms, Larian?
Of course. This is a whole ass tree here, you see.
A few? Great.
Indeed.
Well, let's put them in different rooms. Ascor needs his own special containment chamber, I think. Else I'm taking him to Rosanna and we can stick him next to Vespin Chloras if he can't behave sensibly. The rest of us, we can rest. I can make myself available to any of you. Ascor, will you stop with the static? And he's gonna like slap him on the cheek gently.
And
Tell
I'm
your
just like
aboleth
tied
to
up.
stop.
I'm just tied up, am I?
Would you have
Yeah.
gagged Ascor?
Do, do we know enough about how he does his sneaky spells? I don't
Not
know.
really. Some of them aren't even like verbal,
Probably
are they?
not.
Really?
Probably not
So,
then.
No, so you're not gagged, Ascor.
What do you want from me? I'm not going to tell you anything.
All right, buddy. All right.
And at that note of Ascor spewing more shit, there's going to be a loud screech of the chair moving backwards as Aku just suddenly stands up. And he just goes, I've had enough for tonight. And he's going to walk to... I think he already went to one of the back rooms when we were getting changed for the party. So he's just going to, like, immediately start walking towards that room, slam the door behind him, and you're not going to hear anything else.
Okay.
I think that was a wise decision, actually. I am available to solutionize with anyone. Come find me, you know where I will be. So, can you look after Ascor?
Sure.
Hidden.
Do you need anything to eat, buddy? Anything to drink? Sorry about this.
Milk.
He's back, baby.
Understandable. So, Lauren, is he still there?
Yeah, Lauren's just hanging about. Just kind of.
We're gonna need some milk in here.
Oh, of course. I think I have some frog milk in the back. I'll go get that for you.
Frog milk.
Lauren just makes his way through the vines at the back of the shop.
Okay.
Hayden looks to Barnes.
Yep.
By solutionize, you mean Florian Alves?
No, I mean, I'm available if anyone wants to talk to me. I don't know if I can help any of you. This is terrible. I'm used to dealing with archmages whose neighbours' flowers are bigger than theirs. This is crazy. This is life or death and betrayal. But I'll try. I'll certainly try. So, door's open. I don't sleep. I'm a zombie.
Right. Yeah. Cool.
I guess you are too now. Welcome to the club.
How would I... No, you're joking, right? I'm not...
I don't know. How good
Am
is your
I?
cleric?
I don't know. How do you know if you're a zombie?
Well, I don't eat, drink, sleep. You know.
But you can eat.
Tastes like ash.
Jamie, when I drank the tea earlier, did it taste like ash?
Tasted like tea. Ash.
I think I'm good.
Shit.
Well, if you have any doubts about your life and the status of your body, then I'm here for you. Anyway, I'm going to find myself a tree room.
Right, okay.
He's going to pick up his music case and swan off to find a nice little room with a hammock that he can swing in and play tunes.
Okay. Is anybody going to do anything other than go off to their own segment and kind of take a break, rest up for the rest of the night in Lorien's?
So what is the layout of the interior of Lorien's place? Like, how many rooms are there? Is there like a back door? Is there a kitchen? Bathroom? Give me the
well,
floor plan.
We haven't
the
really
bidet.
worked this out or talked about it, but I imagine
Time for you to
that
decide.
obviously well, we were supposed to discuss this, Erin.
I'm sorry.
I imagine that because it's like a magical tree grown by a fucking druid, that it will be like probably bigger on the inside than it is on the outside. Is that fair to say, Jamie? That might be the case.
Yes, we can do it. Or maybe it goes a little bit underground.
Yeah, and like there's some
A little bit
sort of
upwards.
like Yeah, it's
Yeah.
probably just like crookedy little stairs going around in little spirals that you feel like you're kind of going off into different parts of the tree, or like if you go down, that's probably where the more communal sort of like kitchen-y, maybe like a bathroom area is. I imagine the bathroom is literally there's just like a water fountain coming out of some rock into like a pool, and that's just the bathroom. And yeah, there's probably just loads of little rooms, some with doors that just have like vines and hedges coming of them, some that maybe have some form of rudimentary wooden doors that you can actually close. But none of the rooms I imagine would be very big. But they'll probably have hammocks or like beds of straw and leaves and stuff.
Okay.
And also Lorraine's not being protective about the place, and nothing seems to be locked or like cordoned off in any way. He just seems to be happy to let you guys wander through the place without like being like
Cool. So it's very much make home kind of vibe. So I guess everyone leaves the room that we just had our big fight in.
Does anyone stay, or do you all kind of split up? Is anybody going together? So is
I'm
Zug
just
with
sticking
Ascor?
with Ascor at the moment. Yeah.
Lorraine will come back with a jug of milk with 2 little cups. little like flowers, like they go like that. There are
Nice.
little cups. Your milk, sir. Are you
Wait,
gonna
did you say you
untie
had
him?
2 milks?
Yeah, 2 little cups and a jug
Oh.
of milk.
Zug takes that. Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Would you like me to help you untie him, or are you gonna feed him?
I hadn't thought of that.
Would you like to be untied, sir?
Should we untie him?
Does he want to be untied?
Ascor, should we untie you?
Ascor, sir. Would you like to be untied?
Oh,
Huh.
oh no. He seems like
Maybe.
he's very upset.
Could try feeding him the milk. Maybe it will have some sort of healing properties on him.
Would you like some milk? He kind of gestures to the cup.
Aspel doesn't look up and is, by this point, drenched hair across his face. Doesn't do anything, but he moves his face slightly towards it and just opens his mouth like.
So you're his carer, I understand.
Bodyguard, not carer. No, not a carer. Bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he doesn't need a carer. He kind of says awkwardly while looking at him. Normally he's all right, actually. Quite independent.
I see. Well, I have heard, but not really met him before this evening. Well, I'll leave this tray here with you, and if you need anything, you can come find me. But otherwise, feel free to find a room and make yourselves comfortable. And if, like I said, you need anything, you can just ask one of the grungus, or you can come find me.
Oh, fantastic. Well, anything to eat would be amazing. I just haven't eaten yet. I had a few snacks at the party, but then it got cut short because of, everything that happened.
Yeah, well, you can eat these mushrooms, and he just points to some mushrooms just like growing out of the wall. They're quite substantive, and they taste pretty good. Or you there, and he points to just like a little frog with fairy wings on his back. You sort something out for them. I gotta.
That nods. With his little wings fly off.
But I'll be upstairs, and
Oh, thanks very much.
no worries.
So Zug tries to feed Ascor the milk.
You succeed.
He succeeds. Hooray!
Little
I don't
bit.
have to roll. He then points at the mushroom on the wall and goes, do you want some? I'll. If not, I'll just start tucking in.
Aspel's just like.
Okay, well, suit yourself. I'll be over there eating the wall mushrooms. That sounds weird when I say it like that.
Okay.
Is everyone frozen? Back. Oh wow, I froze too.
Zug to guide you to a hammock.
Sorry guys, the stream froze for a second. Can you repeat the last 10 seconds of what you've said.
Erin, so Zug was feeding Ascor mushrooms, I think, and it was just whether or not anything else was going to happen with you guys before you went to bed and found a hammock somewhere. Ascor, Zug.
No, just chilling, eating wall mushrooms, hoping that nothing bad comes of it.
Okay, cool. Aku. After 10, 20 minutes, there's a tap, tap, tap on the door of the room you've taken yourself to.
Aku doesn't answer, but his door isn't locked.
There's a small creak as the door opens. Aiden kind of slips inside the room. Are you awake?
Aku is sat up, still clothed, sort of like just sitting on a chair with his back to the door. And his shoulders like visibly tense when Aku comes into the room.
Aiden shuts the door behind him, but he stays at the doorway. His hand behind him on the door handle, and he kind of leans against the door. I figured we should probably talk. But what happened? Are you okay?
Aku like scoffs as soon as Haydn asks him if he's okay. Haydn, you will hear. What do you think, Haydn?
Well, I don't know. You really fucking dead. Like, and magic that brought you back is not normal. And I did that to you, so feel the same?
On that note of not feeling the same, just as reference, Haydn, you are rolling at -4 on everything for like 4 days.
Oh shit.
Every time you complete a long rest, it decreases. So you're certainly not feeling like yourself.
I should have lost so many of those saving throws earlier.
I think you did anyway, but
Well,
sorry, Aku.
Aku slowly stands up and he turns around, and I mean, I guess it was pretty noticeable before, but his skin is like really, really pale. I mean, he's you saw him when you dragged him out of the water, like he was pretty much just a corpse. He looks like he's drenched in sweat. Like, his eyes are a little bit unfocused, but I think it's understandable as someone that has just been brought back from the dead that they might look pretty crap. I feel as you can imagine I would feel, given what happened. And from the sounds of it, you must feel the same.
yeah. I don't really know exactly what I've agreed to, but breathing. You knew Rasha for a long time before I met him.
Several years.
How much did he tell you much more about Geb than
Months, actually. Oh, sorry, my timey-wimey is a bit... I can't remember how long Rasha was actually above ground for.
It was a
but,
while.
Yeah, okay.
Somewhere between like long many months to some years, maybe. 18
Yeah.
months.
Yeah.
Midway.
did from what you've learned from Rasha about Geb, I don't know. Do you think that did you ever get a sense of whether you think Geb is a good entity or I just gotten myself involved with Orcus all over again?
Aku frowns. He kind of takes a moment and says, well, Haydn, to be honest, I couldn't tell you. None of Rasha's interactions with his deity seemed normal. But Rashaval is one of the best people. Like, he was probably the best person that I'd ever met. And if he truly believes that Geb was worth serving and Geb was good, then I'm inclined to believe him.
Right.
Did you actually speak with Geb?
I think so. It could have all just been my imagination, but you know, I woke up with this and he shows the brand on the back of his hand. And I don't exactly think this was some elaborate prank from Clasp, so the only way I could be alive. So it had to have been him.
I would say that that's one of your lesser concerns at the current moment. I mean, Rasha had been fine for years under the servitude of Geb. It's hard to say at this point. Doesn't really matter what I believe Geb to be.
Guess so. On to the topic I guess you're referring to. I just wanted to say that I was never turning over. Clasp. So, and he kind of fidgets at the door. I'm sorry I kept this from you for so long. You made it pretty clear Dance was Clasp's. I want you to know.
Aku walks over to Haydn, who's standing by the door. And he looks at him for a moment. And he leans in and he says, let's make this clear, Haydn. I don't need anyone to pay my debts. To the Clasp, to whoever it might be. I'm perfectly capable of handling myself. Whether or not the Clasp deserves what I owe them. Is not really any of your concern to take on as your own problem. Even just a slight mention would have been enough. And he looks like he goes to say something else. But his eyes kind of just like stare at the door behind you, and he just freezes for a few seconds. And his eyes turn back to you, and he just looks at you with a different expression, maybe one of pity, almost. And then he blinks, and he looks back at you again. Haydn, I really... I don't know what your plan is from here, but it seems like you never had a plan in the first place. It was extremely naive of you to think that you could come back to him on without any kind of plan or backup from any of us and think that you could get away with it. And then he kind of laughs a bit under his breath, and his thumb goes and touches Haydn's brow bone to where his eye is. I suppose you didn't really.
No. No, I didn't. Yeah. I think Ari would go this far. Just have another chance with her, and didn't realize I was really on my last one.
And who is Kyrie to you? Kari to you? Don't know why I keep wanting to call her Kyrie.
Yeah. Sister, I guess. Was the one that took me in. All my missions and what's left of my paychecks after I fuck them up. In with closest thing I've had to family since until guys.
Haydn, I can understand why you might feel that way, but Kari is not your family. I've worked with them long enough, probably longer than since... Haydn is how old, remind me?
28?
Okay. Probably longer than you've been working with them. That's how they get you to do their dirty work. I mean, surely it didn't take you all this time to understand that.
You don't have anything else to compare it to. It's take what you can get, right?
Well, when did Kari ever stand up for you? When did Kari ever save your life? When did Kari ever have your back? Exactly.
I didn't have anyone who did any of that stuff for me. So only really recently I've been able to put it into context, you know. I fucked up. Know that you guys forgive me after.
Before Haydn continues, he just feels like a pull and just like heavy arms around his shoulders as Aku just like grabs him. Haydn, just today's been enough. I understand why you did what you did, but you have to know that any trails off, he's not he's really struggling to talk, like since earlier today. He's confused, but as soon as Haydn talks about leaving, he just he grabs him. Maybe a bit too rough to be considered a hug, but it's a hug nonetheless.
Haydn kind of freezes up, but after a minute, returns the hug. He kind of mumbles into Aku's shoulder. Alright if I stay here again.
As you wish. And Aku just looks extremely exhausted and probably walks toward the bed to pass out.
Hayden, you fall asleep next to Aku.
He's
Okay. As you're all drifting off, there's a slight, whatever kind of thing alerts you to the fact that somebody's entered the front door of your shop, Lorian.
Being made aware of that, Lorraine will head down to the main shop.
DM, before we progress, is it
Yes.
alright to just know where I ended up, which like room or part of the building or?
Well, like, as
spooning Zug.
Lauren said, there are various kind of back rooms that kind of go down on Cricket, and Zug probably dragged you along until he found one that had like 2 hammocks that looked comfortable, and you're in the same room with Zug in a hammock.
And I'm tied up in the hammock.
No,
right?
you're released, I think. Or did you release
Oh,
him?
good
Zug?
heaven.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything Eski said just then. Anyone else say that?
No.
I just said good heavens. I repeated it. Don't worry. I was on mute. I didn't realize.
Oh, good heavens. So did you release? Did you untie him, Zug?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
why not?
You fool!
I am
What
now
have you
free.
unleashed? I waited for all these seconds.
Oh my god.
So, you walk down the stairs, kind of move in, and you see there's not particularly tall, but hooded, slim figure, and using see here single footsteps, and you also hear the kind of ruffling and moving outside. There's a couple of people standing outside the shop as well, and but the hood kind of comes down and the voice, which we immediately recognize to be Sika Odessa tal'dorei.
Seeker, master of information. What can I do for you and your entourage this fine and very late evening? And he's probably like not got any of his leather armor on. He's got no cape, so his like shirt's probably just sort of like hanging open, hair kind of like, you know, all over the place as well.
Oh, Lolian, it's been a little while since I made a visit. You know, I'm shocked you're here alone. Not like you after a party.
Well, you know, that party didn't exactly go in an interesting direction for me. There were not that many interesting people there tonight, so I thought I would make my way back here.
I see. Eleanor not hold your interest this evening? Eloise, sorry, not Eleanor.
Ms. Eloise is very educated and astute lady who knows what she wants. And she certainly did hold a lot of conversation with me tonight.
Nothing else.
Such as?
Not attention for much longer, Lorian. Come on. Games.
No games, ma'am. I'm just looking for some more specifics of what you're after. You haven't exactly asked me any direct questions that I could give you direct answers to.
When I left, did you speak to Thormund?
Who, sorry?
The headmaster, Thurmond Adlam. But he said Thurmond.
Oh, did I? I think I did, right?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. We may have exchanged a couple of words.
Did he ask you for anything?
He did not ask me for anything.
Deception.
It's not deception. He didn't ask me for anything.
Okay, persuasion.
Yeah, I talked to Erin about this. I forgot that it's in my character backstory that I can't lie.
Okay, yeah.
So, oh my god.
Give it some thought.
I rolled a 3.
Yeah.
Which makes up a 20.
I'm sorry, what?
Ha-
For persuasion.
Yeah, for persuasion.
Context, please.
Plus 17. All right, expertise.
That's
charisma.
higher than
Let
mine.
me add this shit up. Hold
Skill
on.
expert, background feature, charlatan,
Oh, wait, what subclass are you?
Fey Wanderer.
Yeah, you're getting that wisdom bonus. to
Yeah.
wisdom as well.
Did he talk to you about any problems he was having that you might be able to help him with?
He did not come to me with any problems that he had. I asked him what he was up to. He relayed to me that he had been having some sleepless nights. But he did not ask me for any help or any aid in his adventures or work.
Good, what if he does? I would like to be informed.
Of course, you are the most informed person in this here city, and I should
Lie,
never...
Lauren, but one I appreciate. What did you make of the new heroes of Iman?
Oh, them nice boys. They seemed like a awfully troubled lot that I can only imagine I would regret getting myself involved with.
Yes, they were rather odd. Left out rather unexpectedly, too.
Is that right?
I saw you
getting
talking to them
themselves-
before they did.
Yes, they seem to be very interested in the comings and goings of certain parties at the rally. And you know me, I'm always looking to expand my customer repertoire, so I was more than happy to make their acquaintance.
Sighs. It's like puts down the thing she's playing with down. Turns around. Is there anything you think you'd like to tell me, Lorian?
Again, off the top of my head, there is nothing that I would like to tell you. But if you have any more specific questions, I would be happy to indulge you, ma'am.
No, I don't. Have I ever asked you before? I don't think I have. You don't really care who wins this, do you?
It is more in my interest to have the favor of the winner than back in a given certain party. So, you know,
Yes.
naturally, the Sulfrana, aligns with my interests. However, I am lucky enough to have made the acquaintance of the Galverdane daughter, so I'm sure I will be very well looked upon should Heinrich come into power as well.
Hold, we are having connection. Did you know holding shift while clicking an emoji allows you to
There's
send
nothing I
multiple
want to tell
emojis?
you is the it's a good one.
Sorry guys, Discord
Hello.
DC'd.
Welcome back.
I am
Yes,
back.
although when one, as somebody who works in my line of work, some relationships are more dangerous than others, especially when ones are upset that one has made a quick escape at a party.
Are you referring to myself?
I am.
Of course I left. Things weren't interesting anymore. All of the interesting people had left.
I meant more that you know as well as I do, the Galvadanes can be dangerous.
I feel that is a fair assessment.
I really wish you trust me more, Dorian, but clearly
I
the
give
games
you
are...
nothing but my truths, ma'am, and I'm always willing to cooperate with the council. I would not be one to get into any trouble now. My partner certainly would have lots of fun turning me into a Labrador again. Always a Labrador.
It fits the hair.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
Very well, if there is nothing you think should be brought to my attention, and nothing that will be an issue once it is, I shall wish you a good night, Dorian. Until we see each other again.
Grazie, ma'am. Good night.
And it's like I think of the two people who came with her. You see her kind of walk off behind her. You can hear their footsteps kind of crunch, 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 crunch away.
Gentle
Lorraine just,
dulcimer
like-
music resumes from upstairs. Kitty Bond's had the shop door and was like, "Oh, Mama, stop that."
Lorraine just like drinks what's left in the ball that he had downstairs and gathers the cups and heads back up, I guess.
Yeah. What do you just head off to sleep, Dorian? What are you up to? Did you talk to anyone?
So you said that Bonds is playing music, right?
Yeah, gentle dulcimer tunes wafting out the slightly ajar door.
Yeah, he'll head up the stairs to where Bonds is and sort of like rap on the door and sort of lean his head in. Good evening, sir. Heard you're not one fond of sleeping.
No, I don't do that. Plenty
And
of
that's
time for
because you're
practice.
dead. You're a zombie.
That is exactly why. Yes, I am dead. Correct.
Now that is very interesting. Now, how does one become a zombie?
Are you thinking of trying? Is there a motivation behind the question, or is it curiosity?
Absolute curiosity. I have no interest in becoming a zombie myself. I rather enjoy my blood pumping through my veins, if you get my meaning.
Well, here's the thing. Come in if you like. Or a chair or something. It's your house. But, I don't actually remember. I was killed. I was killed by somebody to whom I am not entirely sure the depth of my relation. Research partner, I was his therapist. Potentially, I'm not sure. He says weird things about that, but... I woke up in the company of these fine people not so long ago, and... I was a zombie.
Now that is unlucky.
Sort of just popped out of the ground.
Like a daisy.
Just like a daisy, correct. I thought maybe it was the aforementioned wand of Orcus, perhaps calling me back into the fray, or something to do with those fine people there, but... No, the reason is neither.
And it, I will put aside the fact that y'all so casually mention an ancient evil artifact wielded by one of the demon princes of the Nine Hells.
There's that, yeah.
I think that is it, or something. I don't know. But brushing that very small detail aside, you had some rather interesting moves back at the rally.
Was that before or after? I was mind controlled by the flower rot zombie creator.
Well, I guess that's what I'm rather interested in. I mean, I was not under the impression that you were mind controlled. You sort of pulled out a new hairdo and then start stinking of a different plane, and here we are, back to normal, singing your little songs.
I pulled out a new hairdo. Well, that's news to me. Was it a good one?
It was very business at the front and party in the back, might I say.
I thought I was party in the front as well.
maybe you need to work on that.
Maybe I do. You're giving me a lot to think about today.
Mm.
I would bring the party to the front, and what is it you said at the party? Come on, less strong.
No, the emoji come on is just fine. Sometimes I like to be a little rude just to get some reactions out of folk. Maybe
I
try and
know.
cause some scenes.
I know, it doesn't bother me in particular. No, the question you asked, the moves that I busted.
Mm.
Yes, it is a bit troubling, isn't it? I'm a
A little bit
therapist from the Age of
troubling.
Arcanum. I have a degree in psychiatry. I joined a band when I was younger. I don't remember ever becoming in league with devils, being able to summon them from the sky, owning this, and he'll materialize just out of nowhere, the kind of ruby blade into his hand. I don't know how I can do that. I don't know why my hair changed. I don't remember any of it.
Fascinating.
I
With
sort of know.
with Lorian's passive perception, would he get any like bad vibes off the blade? Or like
Yeah, the way
any
it cuts through the
specific
air,
vibes? Yeah.
there's a slight sound as if someone's screaming very far away.
Hey.
Huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that is a extremely interesting and disturbing talent you have there.
Right, it's not really very therapy, is it?
No, it's kind of giving me the opposite of
The
come and
opposite,
sit
the
down on the
exact.
couch and bury soul. It's more, I'm gonna trap you in a dungeon and have you screaming for days, but like in a bad way.
Right, and that's not really my vibe. It's not really my
No.
energy. No.
No.
No. Lorian, I'm going to be honest with you because I think I need to be honest to the rest of them because in the spirit of being candid, I was preaching transparency and preaching talking before things get overblown. And I think I'm going to have to do that once they're not all trying to kill each other over previous altercations.
Mm-hmm.
When I lost my mind in that fight, Lorian, I went for lunch.
How nice.
I went for lunch and sat at the other side of the table in my mind prison was Asmodeus, god of the nine hells.
Uh-huh. And is he a friend of yours?
Certainly acted like it. In fact, he said he was disappointed in me, not mad or upset, which, well, there is a different sort of energy that's not friend necessarily there, but I'm not going to say it out loud. I don't know why this happened, really. And I don't want it to happen.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm not somebody that takes joy out of. Well, he kind of waves the sword around slightly like a baton. The screaming.
Lorian just kind of goes,
I'm not really a screams in misery sort of person. I'm more of a play at the pub and
mm-hmm.
help fix people's problems sort of individual. And I've been trying to figure that out, confirm it. Make sure that the memories I'm missing don't point to me being the screaming kind of guy.
I see. That is quite the conundrum you have there.
Right, it's a lot, and I just sort of think that if I'm going to hang out with these fine people, I should probably tell them before, something terrible happens, like they might be put in danger, because heaven forbid that would be awful.
Well...
And who would harbour a secret that would put these fine people in danger?
I mean, if you see it that way, that's absolutely fair. I will be completely candid with you, Barnes. I have no idea what the Age of Arcanum is or what that means to you. And I also don't have any particular stake in the good versus evil fight of whatever is going on in those dastardly planes versus this one. In my observation, I will say that I am not a therapist like yourself, but it seems like these fellas got pretty mad at their friend for holding off on him over a long period of time. So
I'd agree.
maybe just pile that shit on them. Just add to the trauma right now while it's all open, while those wounds are all fresh. And
Right. I was going to do it earlier, but Aku was beating the shit out of Ascor, and I just thought if I casually said, hey, I went to lunch with Asmodeus earlier, they'd probably shrug and not really acknowledge the danger, and they might have said, that's very funny, Barnes, anyway. So,
well, if Haydn was best friends with Orcus, then perhaps your relationship with Asmodeus is, you know, my
off a
limited
piece.
my knowledge in this is very limited, you have to understand. But from what I understand, that is quite literally the lesser of two evils.
Quite well, is it? Orcus versus Asmodeus, who wins a wrestling match? I guess they wouldn't wrestle.
I think one is more calculating and one is more
Sword completely crashed. I'm sorry for all the technical.
Your refined contribution, but
refined contribution.
we're sorted here now.
Hello. Are you back?
I'm trying to fix Discord.
Well.
we just do like an episode where everyone speaks in a southern accent.
Oh my god, please, that'd be so funny.
My oh my.
My, oh my.
Bless your heart.
Let's destroy the class.
Zug, your Texan accent's pretty good.
Yeah, man.
Next character.
Regular Knowles.
Just gonna recreate
Right,
Tom
wrong.
Kench in D&D.
Oh my
Yeah,
god, yes,
Kench.
yes.
Yeah.
Unbench the Kench.
Oh my god, Kench is obviously a Grungus, right?
He's the king
Yes.
of the Grungas.
He is the
surely.
king.
Big Grungus energy.
He's
Papa
King
Grungus.
Grungus.
Anyway, we're
Yeah.
back.
Demand an
Oh, yeah.
entree.
The stream is fixed. I'm sorry, guys.
Awesome. So in summary, what I think I'm trying to say is therapize yourself.
No, I know it's the right thing to do. It certainly is. I just, the moment needs to be right, and that might be around breakfast tomorrow. When's a better time to confess that you might be in league with the betrayer gods than over breakfast? Bit of toast, bit of tea, some coffee.
Well,
Guys,
if
I
it-
might be an enemy of the world. I might have aided and abetted Vespin Chloras and partially destroying it 1,000 years ago. Now I'm a zombie. Hey.
I mean, personally, I'd choose lunch, but that's just me.
Well, if you're after toast for such an occasion, I will have to send Grungus to get some bread from the bakery.
Personally, I'm ambivalent as to whether or not there is toast present.
Oh, of course, you don't eat it all.
I don't do no. But
Do you
Ascor,
smoke? Out of curiosity.
I do. I did. I don't know what it would do to me now.
Would you like to try? I mean, it can't taste worse than ash, am I right?
It can't really taste worse than anything I've experienced in the last few weeks, so let's do it.
It
What
might
are you
help you
suggesting?
relax ahead of the big day tomorrow.
It might, and if it doesn't, then we're smoking and having a good time, which is better than me playing music in my room. So
Lorraine,
you
was
really
this-
just came in to ask me if I'm a zombie?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, who just drops that so casually into conversation and expects no follow-up from folk who have never met a zombie before? Now, I met all kinds of people in my travels, but I never met anyone literally dead before.
Right, and on that, all kinds of people in your travels, you're from the Feywild, aren't you? The
That's
singularly
right, born
most
and bred.
dangerous and terrifying plane in the entirety of the multiverse. You're from there.
Off
Well-
the windy place.
I would. I mean, I would beg to differ. I would say the material plane is actually the most dangerous and terrifying plane anywhere because it's the plane that everyone wants to have a piece of, and therefore there is an awful lot of conflict here all the time. But I will spare you my politics. The Feywild, I do miss it sometimes, but you know, it can get boring.
No, it's interesting you say that everyone wants a piece of this plane. I come from a time, 1,000 years ago, when There was none of that. Nobody was conflicting for this place. It just sort of was.
And what happened then?
Oh, Vespin Chloras happened. The calamity happened. I don't really know the specifics. I died before it, I think. Or he killed me before it. My associate, that is. But I remember, Larian, a place where life was perfect. Where life was unimpeachable. The dead did not die. Where you had everything you ever needed. Where you were born looking like less than you wanted. No problem. Go get it fixed. Oh, an anvil fell on your head and you died. Don't worry, take him to Vespin Chloras. He'll fix it. He can heal everything. Where you had food, you had peace, shelter, safety, dignity, no matter who you were.
And by the sounds of it, just hell and necromancers.
Right. Do you know, I saw a book in Roman's house that called it The Age of Wanton Necromancy. Wanton is derogatory, but think about that. Nobody was afraid of dying. I'm 350, not including my 900 years spent in the ground. You didn't have to think about it. It wasn't a worry. If you had an archmage on your side, then all was good. And I had many, many, many archmages on my side. Because they were all, sad. And they just needed a me to make them feel like everything was fine.
Well, you have your experience of being there, and not dying actually sounds kind of lame to me. No stakes involved, nothing to fight against or pitch yourself against. I mean, I myself have been revivified quite a few times at the hands of my friend who actually killed me, but it's not the same as actually dying and crossing over and being reborn, unborn. I don't know. What would you prefer it to be referred as? I don't intend to offend you.
I don't know. Woken up. But I think you're right, Larian. Genuinely, I do. I think not dying is, as you put it, really fucking lame. Nothing really matters. If nothing matters, then everything matters, and I think that's what happened. I hated it. I just told you about a world that was perfect, but it couldn't have been farther from it. In the few weeks I've spent in this place, I've seen people who struggle and fight and are miserable and scream at each other and punch their friends, but I prefer it. Immensely. This post-calamity world is... honestly, it's better.
And out of curiosity, and I'm not saying this because I'm gonna do it, but do you think you can die again?
And I, personally, die again? Well, it's Asmodeus' power keeping me going, so I suppose if he's pissed off at me, then yeah, I'll just die for good.
And do you think you could just, sort of call him up again and say, hey, sir, what's the exact nature of our relationship?
Bonds kind of laughs at this and he says, do you know, I hadn't even thought about it. I probably could. Maybe I'll ask him for brunch.
Yeah, I mean, if he's literally inviting you into his personal space for brunch, then that doesn't seem too odd a question to ask.
No. He told me to sort myself out and get his goddamn eyes back, which I assume are Y minor, and he points to the little kind of lacings of scars underneath his eyes, which I guess you can't see, but...
I'll take your word for it.
I think these are transplanted. I don't know. These belong to somebody. Poor them. Anyway, maybe I can. Maybe I can.
Yeah. Well, I think definitely tomorrow when everyone is else and the rest of them, do they sleep?
Do the rest of them sleep? Well, I mean, sort of. Yes, no, I think for the most part they have normal sleep spans.
Well, perhaps some rest will do them good. They can come back at it with, for want of a better phrase, fresh eyes. And
right.
You can reveal to them your extremely sad and deep backstory.
Is it sad? I don't know if it's sad.
You sound a little sad.
I might be. But I suppose when you've spent 300 years listening to other people's problems, you sort of... your own just resolve themselves in your mind. I can pride myself on one thing. Lorraine, it's that I'm extremely resilient.
As someone who has spent 300 years of their life causing problems for people, I can't relate, but I empathize.
That makes us quite a dynamic duo. You create problems and I'll run around fixing them.
I would love to see you try and fix a problem that I caused.
Right, maybe Asmodeus is pale in comparison to Lorien.
Well, we'll see what pranks we can pull on that lord now, given the opportunity. A whoopee cushion, perhaps, on his tea chair. Wouldn't that be funny? Asmodeus sitting down, just... He wouldn't even know what to make of that. I bet that's never happened to him before.
I'm going to call him up and I'm going to burst out laughing. And he won't know why, but I'll know inside.
You'll know.
Have they been smoking this whole time, or is this pre?
I imagine, yeah, Lorian's just like taken some of his stash out and like whatever the D&D equivalent of weed is, he's just like rolled it out and set it up and given just shared his with Bonds.
Yeah.
Okay. Despite a bit of a shortage in Imon recently, there's
there's always some southern hospitality here.
Quite right.
You guys smoking into the night. It still tastes like ash, but maybe it should taste like ash.
Let me tell you, the shit that Lorien gives you, you're gonna have a hangover tomorrow, buddy.
So, is there anything else you two discuss before mutually both not going to sleep?
Not of import, I think.
After about 4 hours before dawn, Lorien will like say his goodbyes and go to do his meditation.
Cool. Haydn, drifting off next to Aku, you find yourself staring into the deep, dark abyss until your feet connect with something, and there's a little splash, and you look down, and there's water again, about ankle high, and the mind casts back to the place you've been only a few hours ago, where you made whatever agreement you made. There's no golden statue, there's no bars, there's just you alone in this water and a faint red light off in the distance. And as you kind of look around and down, you're here this time, you're not formless and as you were before, but there's something human shaped off in the distance beneath the water. You can see it floating every now and then up.
Is that same direction as the red light?
No. Red light's kind of hanging above you.
Oh, okay. Can I see what the body is?
You'd need to get closer.
Done.
Yeah, as you approach it, you see it's wearing similar clothes to the one you remember Aku wearing for the party. And as it kind of bobs even over the surface, you get closer and closer, and you can see that it does appear to be Aku, eyes shut, unconscious, floating.
Oh my god. I like flip him over.
Yeah, as you touch him, he's freezing cold, surrounded by the water that seems, it's not cold to you, but the minute it touches Aku, it seems to almost freeze. And as you just turn him over, they like push on him a little bit, and his like water kind of flows out of his mouth kind of freely. There's no resistance.
This is a dream, right?
You're certainly feeling like it's a dream.
Can I try shaking him awake?
Yeah. Make a strength check.
Unnatural.
Okay. As you kind of do shake him, and you see there's like ripples going all across this lake, river, sea, wherever you are, spreading out and out and out, and for as long as you can see. And Aku's body is completely limp as you're thrusting it, but just at the end, his eyes snap open. They're completely golden in the way you, not like the amber you sometimes see, but in the golden way. And he grabs hold of your arm, says, "Help me, Haydn." And then tentacles reach up and pull him and you at the same time under the water. Just like you feel them like writhing and pushing and like almost like sucking on you as each of the different feelers latch on, pulling you down. And even with the rock 20 roll, you're trying to like break out or push or hold on to Aku, and you're just separated and pushed down, and the water is gushing through your lungs. You can't breathe, you can barely see. And that's when you sit up bolt upright back in Lorian's cottage. Aku sleeping soundly beside you, drenched in sweat.
Oh my
And
freaking. My stream froze. What did you say at the end there?
hand burning gold.
Is it like glowing?
Yeah.
God. Is Aku okay? Like,
Who seems to be fine next to you, sleeping soundly.
shit. He'll try like rubbing the back of his hand to see if he can get like the glowing to like stop. Like,
It's
feel of
as you
anything?
kind of rub a little bit. It doesn't seem to be unaffected by the rubbing, but after a couple of minutes, it slowly begins to fade.
Naku's definitely breathing, right?
Yeah.
I try speaking to Geb.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
Okay. You start praying.
Gonna hold the hand that's got the brand on it.
Yep.
And kind of bring it to face and kind of shut my eyes and kind of try to think of Geb's name and ask, trying to tell me something?
Make a religion check.
$15?
No response. You probably remember that directly in this version of, in reality, not outside of a dream or anything, Geb never spoke to you, never spoke to Zug, only ever spoke to Rasha.
Okay, that's freaky. I guess I'll Aku's alive. He's fine. So think ugh. Man, I want to speak to Rasha, but he's not here. Who else could I ask about this?
Only someone in your party had the sending spell to contact him with.
Yeah. Okay. Does Haydn know you have the sending spell?
Yeah, I think he's been. Yeah, 'cause he chats to Roman and people. Essex.
All right. He's gonna get out of the bed. Pull his jacket on quietly. Barnes.
Haydn is getting up. If he looks back down, he'll notice that Aku's eyes are open and staring at Haydn.
Look. Sorry, I didn't mean to wake you.
There's a smile on Aku's face, one which is seemingly misplaced for the situation and the time. Having some trouble with your new deity, Haydn?
Does Haydn get the sense that he's speaking to that Aku's like not himself, or
Seems out of character. His voice has a like slightly higher kind of lilt to it.
God?
It's a bit more eloquent than you're used to with Aku, but I mean, still Aku's voice.
Yeah. Jamie exposed. Sorry, 1 second. We're up. Here we go. Done. Okay. How do you know? Sorry, did the light woke you up, right? Of course. I'm sorry. Aku, are you okay? You sound different.
He's still smiling at Haydn. And he sort of shifts and rolls onto his elbow and puts his hand on his chin. Haydn, I hope you know that, well, as transparent as many of us feel that you are quite lucky that we heard you explicitly say that you wouldn't hand us over to the clasp to Kari. It's, well, there's nothing more than dying together with a shared enemy to prove your loyalty. And he sits up and he stops smiling. But you should know if you put our life in danger again. Well, I don't imagine that I could do anything about that. You saw how men of the clasp ended up, didn't you?
I didn't.
That's a shame. It was it was quite a mess. I don't know if I could really give you much advice on your Geb. And Aku's voice just stops. And he takes in a breath. And he looks down at the bed and looks up at Haydn. And just says, "Are you going somewhere?"
I told you. Wait.
Told
Wait.
me what? I do sleep like normal humans, Haydn.
I was had a weird. And he takes his jacket off and drops on the ground and back down on the bed. Do you still have dreams? I remember you did not have them, and then after Kaifon started having them, do you still get them?
Not since our last meeting with Ghost. Did you dream of Kaifon? I mean, why would you?
I don't know. I dreamt that I was back in the place where I made the deal with Geb, the agreement. It wasn't where I spoke to Geb and he agreed to bring me back. And you were there. You're dead. And I ran over to you and tried to wake you up. He's on the ground and pulled us both down. I don't know if that anything to do with Geb or if it's Typhon, something else entirely, or whether it's just my own fucked up head messing with me.
Haydn, you've had a difficult day. From what I've heard of human, and he kind of looks at Haydn. Elf dreams, I imagine, are the same. Uh, it's not real. It didn't happen, unless you're inclined to believe that this is some kind of message from a god. I mean, you've had nightmares before, no?
It's get Barnes to try contact Rasha in the morning thing. Probably should try.
Haydn, I meant to ask this yesterday, but Ascor has a way of getting under my skin. But you mentioned you think that Rasha revived you? That Rasha was there with us?
Yeah.
Whilst we were both dead? And yet he only helped you?
Why? I mean, when I woke up, you were still face down in the river, so he didn't see you.
Aku kind of like looks at Haydn in disbelief and goes, "Yeah, I'm sure that's what it was." He sort of like puts his fingers like to his temple, and he sort of, his eyes are a bit scrunched up, and he's like sort of rubbing at his head, and just says, I need more sleep. Clearly haven't gotten enough rest after yesterday.
These questions can wait till the morning. But I'm sure if Rasha could have saved you, he would.
Really? I wouldn't be so sure about that, Haydn. I mean, where is he now?
We gotta find out.
And with that, Aku is going to roll over and go back to bed, because he's a sleepy boy.
All right. Haydn, what are you up to?
Yeah, realizing that even if Haydn did go try to speak to Barnes right now, Rash is probably asleep because it's middle of the night, so put that plan on hold. Back to sleep.
So given the time and everybody sleeping somewhat, and Lauren obviously going, the group can decide what their plans are tomorrow, next week. Are they going to, presumably they're going to message Rasha, get to the bottom of what's been going on there. Where's he been? How's he been? Why was there only one saving? What's he up to? On top of that, you have any plans you want to have for the class, Ascor's family, and the election in general. Are you going to meet Silfrena, or are there other more pressing matters for the party? Music's creepy.
I know, it is creepy.
And yeah, I think therapy sessions can continue. Barnes and Lorian smoking weed with all these shit kids with all their problems. Seems like a pretty good way to unwind afterwards. So thanks for playing, everybody. Hope you had fun, and we will see. Well, and thank you for watching. We'll see everyone next week. Au
Yeah.
revoir.
Oh no, I don't have anyone to
no.
raid.
Oh, no.
Hello, chat. It's a good job Haydn didn't go to see Barnes because he would have been baked.
Oh shit!
It was like, contact Rasher, and he's like, yeah, man.
Oh my god, I want to see baked Barnes. We still need to have our session where all the boys have a little coke, something in Lorian's shop.
In a sauna.
Will Aku and Ascor ever get along is the question.
No.
I wanna know.
Maybe this is the turning point.
I mean, how many times has Aku smited Ascor now?
Only
Three
twice, I
times,
think.
isn't
Oh, God.
Oh, guys, should we raid D&D Beyond and confuse them with our very similar name on Twitch?
Yeah,
Yes.
dude, let's do it.
Alright, let's do it. Okay. Let's raid D&D Beyond. Who are streaming right now. Mark Mears DM's game 2.
Aku and
Something.
Ascor are like necessarily hate each other the most, but they're just the quickest to rise to violence, I'd probably say.
Yeah, for sure.
Would definitely stab.
I know, I think I might have put Ascor on the wrong part of the would never stab anyone chart. So
I don't know. I feel like Ascor and Aku have some pretty major life differences that mean that they will not see eye to eye on anything. Like, unless someone knocks Ascor down a fucking, well, I was gonna say peg, but I mean, I think off a building might be more of an accurate description.
I hope
Yeah, I
you're
think so.
wrong. I hope you're wrong, man, because let's not forget Ascor's got access to the 7th level spells, you know.
Maybe they can bond over where they're similar. Their pride, their mutual stabity nature.
Don't you dare.
by the,
I like the
Aku's
sound of-
pride to
by the
Ascor.
end of this campaign, Aku and Ascor become friends.
That's
Oh,
actually the
I-
like.
Oh,
Oh, I thought we were going shipping route.
Oh,
Well,
No.
Sam,
Sorry,
anime
Haydn.
person at 7th
Anyway, we're
level.
losing
How
people.
about
I'm gonna
that?
start the raid. Bye,
Yeah.
everyone.
Bye.